The Washington Informer, along with Capital Entertainment Services and a host of corporate sponsors, kicked off its first annual African American Heritage Tour at the Ark in southeast Washington, D.C. Over 200 Washington area residents were carried on a journey by bus through history, which began and ended with a conversation with Frederick Douglass.
Boys and girls, it is a pleasure to welcome you here to my home in Washington.
Participants toured the grounds of the Douglass home in northeast Washington, D.C., and learned about the city's rich African American culture, including the recorded experiences of emancipated slaves, the establishment of educational institutions, and their own Freedmen's Savings Bank, which stands today adjacent to the White House. Frederick Douglass was the last president of the bank. Along the way, tour guides shared little-known history facts about different areas of the city like Barry Farms, which was established in 1867 as a community for free blacks. Corporate sponsors shared their appreciation of the day's activities, while some tour participants acknowledged their appreciation of the sponsors.
I live near the Benning Road, Denny's, and any and everyone, especially African Americans, should be proud to go there.
From Washington, D.C., this has been B.J. Brooks. Now, here's more from Frederick Douglass.
My friends, I know that today I cannot tell my whole life story, but I do want to tell you about my special friend, Mr. John Brown, who was one of this country's greatest martyrs for freedom and liberty. Some of you may have heard of him and his raid on Harper's Ferry. On the night of the 16th of October, 1859, there assembled in the mountains of Maryland near the confluence of the Potomac and Shenandoah rivers a squad of 19 men, 14 of whom were white and 5 were colored. They were thoroughly armed and equipped for war. They were not only well armed themselves, but they had taken the precaution to bring with them a large quantity of arms and ammunition to supply any who might be disposed to join them in their enterprise for liberty. These 19 men boldly invaded Harper's Ferry, a town of nearly 3,000 inhabitants. They disarmed its watchmen, took possession of the arsenal, rifle factory, armory, and other government property, arrested and made prisoners of nearly all of the prominent citizens of the neighborhood, collected about 50 slaves, put bayonets into the hands of such as were able and willing to fight for their liberty, killed 3 men in the conflict, proclaimed general emancipation as the object of their raid, held the town more than 30 hours, and were subsequently overpowered and nearly all killed, wounded, or captured by a body of United States troops under Colonel Robert E. Lee, since famous as the Confederate General Lee. 3 out of the 19 invaders were captured alive and while fighting, and among these was Captain John Brown, the man who originated, planned, and commanded the expedition. At the time of his capture, Captain Brown was supposed to be mortally wounded. Apprehending that he might speedily die or be rescued by his friends, he was hurried away to Charlestown, some 10 miles away from Harper's Ferry in the state of Virginia, placed in prison strongly guarded by troops, and here, before his wounds were healed, he was brought into court, subjected to a nominal trial, convicted of high treason and inciting slaves to insurrection, and sentenced to death. This sentence was speedily executed, and his body given to his woe-smitten widow. She, assisted by anti-slavery friends, caused it to be borne to North Elba, Essex County, New York, and there his dust now reposes amidst the silent, solemn, and snowy grandeur of the Adirondacks. Such is briefly the story of the Harper's Ferry raid. And so the question is, did John Brown fail? He certainly did fail to get out of Harper's Ferry before he was attacked and beaten down by the government troops. He certainly did fail to save his life. He certainly did fail to lead a liberating army into the mountains of Virginia. But John Brown did not go to Harper's Ferry to save his life. He went to Harper's Ferry to serve a great cause. The true question is, Did John Brown draw his sword against slavery and lose his life in vain? And to this I answer, and history bears out the answer 10,000 times